I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here we are. My name's Dan, and I've been with Sarah for almost 10 years. We got married about 5 years ago, and for the most part I thought we had a decent life. A nice house, good jobs, the usual weekend getaways. We even joined a wine club together, something I genuinely enjoyed. Sarah, though, she's always been a bit of a bitch when it comes to her ego. She's gorgeous, confident, and she's not shy about letting everyone know she's the hottest thing around. She's also pretty manipulative when she wants to get her way, which I always kinda brushed off because I loved her. At first, there were small signs, little things I ignored. She was more secretive with her phone, always texting someone late at night, but I chalked it up to work stuff or her friends. She started dressing differently, wearing more revealing clothes, sometimes even going out with the girls. But I didn't push because I figured she deserved her freedom. Still, deep down, I knew something was off, especially when she started lying about where she was going or who she was. Seeing my gut told me she was hiding something, but I didn't want to believe it. The real turning point came a few weeks ago. Sarah told me she was going to a wine tasting event at a vineyard, just a small private thing with her friends from the wine club. She seemed excited, even a little flirtatious, like she was hiding something but didn't want me to worry. I was fine with it. I trusted her. Or at least I thought I did. I didn't think twice about it until the next day when I decided to surprise her and swing by the vineyard. I wanted to see her, maybe bring her lunch or just say hi. When I arrived, I saw her car parked near the cellar with a guy I didn't recognize sitting on the steps. I didn't think much at first, maybe a friend or a colleague. I got out, approached, and overheard snippets of a conversation. But then I saw her. Sarah laughing, her hand on his thigh. I froze. My stomach dropped. The guy was the vineyard sommelier, a guy named Mark. I'd seen him around, but I never thought he'd be the type to get involved with Sarah. It all clicked in that moment, the late nights, the secret texts, the way she was acting so different lately. I stayed hidden behind a barrel, listening as she told him something I couldn't hear. She was giggling, leaning in close, and I saw her kiss him. Right there in the vineyard cellar where I'd planned a romantic tasting for us. I couldn't believe it. My wife, my partner, was cheating on me with a guy she probably thought was just a friend. I don't know if I've ever felt that kind of shock before. It was like my world crumbled in seconds. I didn't move or say anything at first. I just watched, stunned, trying to process what I'd just seen. The anger started bubbling up, but I was mostly just hurt, like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this? How could she lie for so long? All those quiet nights, the excuses, the little fights about things that didn't matter, turns out, she was busy fucking her wine buddy in our favorite vineyard. I knew right then I couldn't just brush this under the rug anymore. I had to confront her. That's where I am now, still trying to figure out what to do, feeling betrayed and humiliated and wondering if I even know the woman I married. I didn't move right away. I just stood there watching her and Mark through the tiny crack in the barrel. The sight of her kissing him, laughing like they shared some secret world I was never meant to be part of, hit me like a freight train. My hands clenched into fists, and my stomach twisted with 1,000 emotions: anger, embarrassment, disbelief. I wanted to storm in, yell at her, tear her apart. But at the same time, I felt like I'd been punched so hard I couldn't breathe properly. It was like my brain was trying to process what was happening, but all I could think of was how much I'd trusted her, how I'd believed we had something real. I stayed behind that barrel for what felt like an eternity, just watching. Sarah was whispering in his ear, then she leaned in again and kissed him deeply. They stayed like that for a minute or two, and then she got up, smoothing her dress, and left with Mark trailing behind her. I stayed frozen, not moving until I saw her get into her car. When she drove off, I finally let the shock take over. I felt a strange numbness, like I'd been hit with a cold wave. My mind was racing, trying to figure out what just happened, what I was supposed to do next. I knew I had to confront her, but I also knew I couldn't just storm inside without a plan. So I waited. I waited until she was gone, then I carefully took pictures of her car, her leaving, everything I could find. I needed proof, evidence of what I'd seen. I also snuck into the vineyard after she left, hiding behind some bushes to see if Mark followed her. And sure enough, he did. They went into her house, and I could see the glow of lights through the window. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just some drunken fling. This was a full-blown affair, and it had been going on for weeks. My mind was spinning, and I felt like I was on the verge of losing control. I kept asking myself how she could betray me so easily, how she could lie so convincingly about everything. Sarah had always been a bit bitchy, demanding, manipulative, quick to throw a tantrum if things didn't go her way. But this was a whole new level. I felt like a fool for not seeing it sooner, for trusting her even when my gut told me otherwise. Later that night, I sat alone in the living room, staring at my phone, trying to decide what to do next. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. I could confront her, I could pack my bags and leave, or I could try to find out more first. But one thing was clear, nothing was ever going to be the same. I felt hurt, humiliated, and angry, but mostly I was disappointed. Disappointed because I thought I knew her, because I thought we had something real. Turns out I was just a fool in her game. The next morning I woke up with a heaviness I couldn't shake. I knew I had to face her. I had to hear her lie, her deny, or maybe even admit it. I wasn't sure what I was more afraid of, her denying everything or her admitting to it. But either way, I couldn't keep pretending nothing was wrong. I had to get answers, and I had to be ready for whatever she threw at me. Because at that point, I knew my whole life had just been turned upside down, and I wasn't sure if I could ever trust her again. I waited until she got back that afternoon. Sarah strutted into the house like she owned the place, her usual bitchy attitude in full swing. She was wearing that tight, revealing dress, the one she wears when she wants to remind everyone she's still the hottest woman in the room. She threw her purse on the table, took a deep breath, and looked at me like I was supposed to be impressed. I didn't say a word at first. I just stared at her, letting her feel the weight of what I knew. Finally, I broke the silence. "So, Sarah," I said calmly but coldly, "I saw you yesterday, or should I say I caught you, in the vineyard cellar, kissing Mark." Her face instantly turned sour. She blinked, trying to act innocent, but I saw the flicker of guilt behind her eyes. "What are you talking about? You're crazy." "Dan," she snapped. "I was at that tasting event, remember? You said you trusted me, so maybe you should start doing that instead of spying on me." I shook my head. "Don't lie, I saw you. I saw you with my own eyes. You've been sneaking around behind my back, lying about where you're going and who you're with. You think I don't know what this is? It's more than just some fling, Sarah. You're sleeping with him, aren't you?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. Mark's just a friend. We have a professional relationship, that's all. You're making a huge deal out of nothing." Her voice was dripping with that bullshit bravado she always used when she was trying to cover her guilt, but I wasn't buying it anymore. "Really? Professional? Then why are you hiding it? Why does Mark come over to your house? Why were you laughing and kissing him?" "Don't insult my intelligence," I said, my voice rising. I could feel the anger bubbling up, but I kept it in check. "You've been lying to me, betraying me. How long has this been going on? Weeks? Months?" She rolled her eyes, trying to dismiss it all with a shrug. "You're being paranoid. It's none of your business. We're adults. If I want to have some fun, that's my choice. I don't need your approval. Maybe you're the one who's insecure." That made me furious. I clenched my fists. "Insecure? Are you kidding me? I trusted you. I gave you everything, my love, my loyalty, and you throw it away for some stupid affair with a guy who's probably laughing behind my back. You think I don't know what you are, Sarah? You're a cheating bitch, and I want to hear you admit it." She looked at me, eyes narrowing. "You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not cheating. You're just paranoid because you're insecure and jealous," and I cut her off. "Enough. I've had enough of your lies. I saw the pictures. I heard you. We're done pretending like this is okay. I want a divorce." Her face twitched for a second, that bitchy smirk flickering. "Fine, go ahead. You think I care? I've got Mark now. I don't need you anymore." Her voice rose, full of venom. "You're just a boring, insecure loser. I deserve better. Maybe I'll take everything, your house, your stupid job, the damn wine club, and leave you in the dust." That's when I realized just how far gone she was. The cold, ruthless look in her eyes, the way she was already planning her escape. I felt a strange mix of relief and rage. Relief because I finally saw her for what she was, and rage because I was the one she'd betrayed so brutally. I wanted to hit her, scream at her, tear her apart. But I just stood there feeling empty, knowing that this was the end of whatever we had. I walked out of the house that day with my mind racing. I knew I had to figure out the next move. I didn't want her to think she'd won, but I also knew I couldn't stay in that house anymore. Not with her, not with that snake Mark. This was the beginning of a new chapter, one I didn't want but I had no choice in. All I could do now was plan my next step, try to pick up the pieces, and somehow find a way to move on from the betrayal of someone I thought I knew. After I told her I wanted a divorce, she just laughed like I was some pathetic joke. Good, she sneered, flipping her hair over her shoulder. Honestly, I've been waiting for you to catch on. You're such a damn bore anyway, always working, always pretending to care. Mark's better than you could ever be. That's when I saw her eyes flicker with pure hatred, and I realized she'd already made her mind up. She was done with us, done with me. I didn't say much after that. I just packed a bag and left. I needed space to breathe, to process everything. I stayed at a friend's place for a few days, but the pain and shock kept gnawing at me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her kissing Mark, her smirking at me like she was proud of what she'd done. I kept replaying the scene over and over, feeling like I'd been hit by a ton of bricks. The betrayal cut so deep I wondered if I'd ever recover. In those first few days, I was a mess. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My mind kept circling around her lies, her cheating, and the fact that I had been so blind. I trusted her, gave her everything, and for what? Just to find out she was screwing around with some vineyard guy. It felt like my whole life had been a lie, like I'd been living in some fake world where everything was perfect, but really, she was a snake in the grass. Eventually, I started piecing things together. I started digging through her phone, something I never thought I'd do, but at that moment I was desperate for answers. I found messages, flirtatious texts, and pictures of her with Mark. She'd been lying to my face, hiding her affair under a layer of bullshit. She convinced everyone she was just working late or hanging out with friends. Meanwhile, she was casually screwing her wine club friend in our own vineyard. That hurt worse than anything. It was like she'd been living a double life, laughing at me the entire time. I also contacted the vineyard owner, who confirmed what I already suspected, that Sarah and Mark had been meeting regularly, sometimes even during the day when I thought she was at a meeting or shopping. Apparently, Mark had been coaching her on wine pairings. But it had gone way beyond that. They'd been sleeping together in the vineyard cellar behind my back. That was the moment I realized how deep her betrayal went. It wasn't just some fling. It was a full-blown affair, and she didn't care who knew or who got hurt. She was so cocky, so confident in her lies, I almost felt like I was in a bad movie. One thing about her that bugged me was her attitude during all this. She kept insisting it was nothing, that I was overreacting, that I was insecure. She said I was paranoid for suspecting her, but I knew better now. I saw the pictures, I heard the stories, I knew she'd been lying from the start. And honestly, her dismissiveness just made me angrier. I'd trusted her for years, and she'd been screwing someone else the whole damn time, laughing at me behind my back. I spent the next few days trying to figure out my next move. I thought about confronting her again, but honestly, I was exhausted. I also thought about just disappearing, leaving her to deal with whatever mess she'd created. But deep down, I knew I had to stand up for myself and get some closure. I needed to see her face, hear her admit what she'd done, even if I already knew the truth. I wanted her to look me in the eyes and tell me she didn't care, that she was done pretending she loved me, that she was already with Mark. That was the only way I'd feel like I was finally free of her lies. So I decided to go back to the house. I needed to see her, to get some answers, or maybe just to confirm what I already knew. When I walked in, she was sitting on the couch, her legs crossed, sipping wine like she didn't have a care in the world. She looked at me with that smug, bitchy expression she always wore, like she was already king of the castle. I didn't want to scream or yell, but I knew I had to make her understand that she had crossed a line she could never uncross. This wasn't just some mistake. This was a full-blown betrayal, one I'd never forget. I just stood there, feeling the weight of everything she'd done, knowing that my life was never going to be the same again. Looking at her sitting there, so confident and dismissive, I felt a rage I'd never experienced before. All the hurt, betrayal, and humiliation boiled over in that moment. I clenched my fists so tight I thought my nails might cut into my palms. I wanted to tear her apart, shout at her, call her every name I could think of, but something in me kept me rooted to the spot. I knew if I said anything now, I'd lose control completely. Instead, I just looked at her, trying to hold myself together, trying not to break down in tears or scream at her. "I know everything," I finally managed to say, my voice low but trembling with anger. "I know about Mark, about the affair, about you sneaking off behind my back, lying to my face. I saw the pictures, I heard the stories. You've been screwing him in our vineyard and you think you're so clever, so untouchable, but you're not. You're just a cheating bitch who got caught, and I'm done." She scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. I didn't sleep with him. We're just friends. God, you're so paranoid, Dan. You're making a mountain out of a molehill as usual. You're insecure, always have been." That was the final straw. I couldn't take her bullshit anymore. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "You're lying just like you lied about everything else. I saw the way you looked at him, the way you kissed him. You're a fucking liar, Sarah, and I don't want to hear another word from you. I'm done with your lies. I want a divorce." Her face twisted into something ugly, anger, contempt, maybe a little panic. She stood up, trying to get in my face, but I stepped back. "You think you're so clever, don't you? Think you can just lie and cheat your way out of this? Well, guess what? I'm not stupid. I know what you are, and I'm not going to let you ruin me." I saw the flicker of fear behind her eyes for just a second, but she quickly masked it. "Fine. Do whatever you want. Go ahead and divorce me, but you're a fool if you think that's going to fix anything. Mark, not going anywhere. You're just another sad little man who's too blind to see what's right in front of him." I felt my jaw tighten. "You're right," I said softly. "I am a fool for trusting you, for loving you, but I'm not a fool enough to stay and let you destroy everything I built. This is over." I turned and walked out, not bothering to look back. I knew I needed to get out of there, to clear my head, to start thinking about what comes next. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the scene, her laughing, kissing Mark, smugly thinking she'd gotten away with it. I felt humiliated, angry, and most of all heartbroken. How could I have been so blind? How could I have loved someone who was capable of this? The trust I'd built over the years was shattered, and I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to rebuild it. I knew I had to find a way to move on, but for now I just felt numb, caught in a whirlpool of heartbreak and rage. And the worst part, I knew this was only the beginning of a long, painful road ahead. In the days that followed, I threw myself into sorting out what was left of my life. I contacted a lawyer, started the divorce process, and slowly began to piece myself back together. The hardest part wasn't just losing Sarah, it was realizing how deeply I'd been blindsided. For years, I thought we had something real, something worth fighting for. Turns out, I was just another fool in her game, someone she manipulated and used to feed her ego. The betrayal hit me in waves. Sometimes I'd be fine, thinking I'd moved past it. Then out of nowhere, the anger would surge, and I'd be consumed with thoughts of what she did, how she lied, how she sneered at me when she knew she was already planning her next rendezvous with Mark. I kept asking myself, how did I miss all the signs? Was I just too blind, too in love? Or maybe I just didn't want to see the truth. One thing I learned from all this is that trust is a fragile thing. Once broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. Sarah's lies tore through my world, shaking the foundation of everything I believed in. I realized I had to rebuild, not just my house but myself. I started going out more, reconnecting with friends, taking up new hobbies. It wasn't easy. There were nights I'd lie awake, bitter and angry, wondering what I did wrong, what I could have done differently. But I also learned that revenge doesn't bring peace. Seeing her try to spin her lies, trying to make me out to be the bad guy, only made me more certain I needed to walk away. I refused to be her punching bag or her emotional dumping ground. I decided I'd focus on healing, on finding someone who would genuinely love and respect me, not cheat and lie behind my back. Looking back, I know I'll carry the scars of this betrayal for a long time, but I also know I'm stronger than I thought. I learned that even when your world falls apart, you can pick up the pieces, sometimes slowly, sometimes painfully, but eventually you'll get through it. And maybe someday I'll find someone who's worth trusting again. someone who won't lie or cheat or treat me like I'm nothing. This whole experience taught me one thing: never ignore your instincts, no matter how uncomfortable they make you. Love is fragile and trust is sacred. When those are broken, you have to decide what kind of person you want to be: someone who's bitter and broken, or someone who learns, heals, and moves on. I chose the latter. I still carry the scars, but I refuse to let them define me. I'll keep moving forward, stronger and wiser, knowing I survived something I never thought I would. And that's what I want to leave here. If anyone else is going through something similar, know this: it hurts like hell, but you're not alone. And one day, you'll look back and realize that this pain, as devastating as it is also what makes you stronger. Keep fighting, keep healing, and never let someone else's betrayal destroy your sense of self. Because in the end, you're the only one who can truly save yourself.